let's just close out that section. Now, property research. I'm going to probably skip the bulk of this because we've already talked about it. We've talked about market value. I'm going to read this to you one time, okay? But all those other elements here we have gone through in very extensively already. We kind of jumped ahead a little bit. But market value versus market price. Market value versus market price. It is important to distinguish between market value and market price. Market value is an opinion. I'm going to read that to you again. Market value is an opinion that could come from the seller of the home, an appraiser, a real estate agent, or another investor presenting you with an opportunity. These are all good sources to consider, but not to be used as your final analysis. In contrast to an opinion, market price is fact. So you've got market price here, market value. Remember, opinion, fact. Okay? Market price is the price the property will actually sell for, okay, that it actually at that moment in time sells for. To reduce the risk of any purchase, you need to determine what the market price will be for your target property by only looking at sold comparables of the properties that compare to what you're looking at. So the sold comps are absolutely critical when you're looking at value versus market price. Okay. Let me bring up briefly here another Word doc where we talk about county assessed value versus fair market value. And I know I've been on my soapbox about this, but I thought that I'd go into just a little bit more depth here for about 2-3 minutes. Okay. What is fair market value? A property's fair market value is the amount of money that a knowledgeable and willing buyers offer to a knowledgeable and willing seller who will accept it when neither party is pressured to do so. So let me give you an example of pressure. When a party is pressured to sell their house when they don't want to, there are certain laws called eminent domain. Eminent domain laws say that for the greater good of a community, a city, a county, any government agency can come in and say, you have to sell your house because we're putting a new highway through it. Now, when the 2002 Olympics came here to Salt Lake, there was many cases of eminent domain here locally where they wanted to expand roadways and put up parks and things like that. And they were forcing owners to sell their properties at what the city felt was a fair price. That caused a lot of waves. There were people here that as soon as their house went under contract or they got money, they went back and wrote spray paint on their house. The city is unfair, they're crooks, they're communists or whatever you want to. And so there are instances where parties are coerced or pressured to sell their house and there's not a true fair market value, fair market transaction happening, if you will. Okay, so we call these arm's length transactions because they do not include family members, for instance, who might enjoy sweetheart deals who are unavailable to the general public. They do not include transactions where the seller is desperate or motivated, just normal market, a seller that's relocating, they sell to another family at a standard fair market price. That's what we're getting at, just normal circumstances. Fair market value is influenced by property's number of bedrooms, updated kitchens, type of feeding, all that, as well as its curb appeal, defined by architectural style, blah, blah, blah. Okay, you guys get it. Now, let's compare and contrast to that, and we're going to actually define what is county assessed value. A property's assessed value is the value placed on it for taxing or tax purposes. Counties collect real estate taxes from homeowners that are calculated on the tax values of their property, usually through automated software. They are not determined by the economic forces of supply and demand, but rather by the county's fiscal requirements. Counties estimate the money that they must collect from homeowners to pay for county expenditures that are not covered by other revenue streams like fees, licenses, and the like. In most municipalities, assessed values are then adjusted accordingly, and tax rates are determined and collected from homeowners. And that's before, when they do millage rates and things like that and levies, That's before they do exemptions. Remember we were talking about senior exemptions, VA exemptions that can affect all these numbers as well. So the county, again, at the beginning of the year, whatever their fiscal year is, they look at what their needs are to keep everything running. Roads, police officers, whatever. And many times you'll have city tax put in there as well. So it's not just county, it can be city, and then schools, like we talked about. So it's more about what the budget needs are and what's the fastest way that they can get the closest number possible to their estimation of the value of that house, and that's big software. So it really has nothing to do with fair market value, quite frankly. It could be low, it could be high. Again, I'm going to say this point again because I see this as a number one mistake that a lot of beginning investors make is they make final decisions based on what the county assessed value says. Okay? Remember that nice Cape Coral lot that we were looking at, the wet lot that we saw a lot of comps coming in the $40,000, $50,000 range? Real sold comparables in the last 6 months. If an appraiser is looking at that, and anybody like us as real estate investors with any sense, any common sense, and the county assessed value on that property was $24,000. So I've had people that have bought our land that said, Sean, you gave me a raw deal. Our land was only assessed at $3,000. And then I send a whole list of comps that say $8,000 to $10,000, and they still believe the government more than they'll believe the actual market. Okay, now this isn't an anti-government statement. I'm just saying they have limited resources. Okay, and for me, I'm excited that that particular lot's only assessed at 4,000, and I say to that person, hey, look, so why don't you call the county and tell them to adjust their value up to 8,000 to 10,000? And the client will say, bless their heart, these are all good people. Say, no, I don't want to do that. They're going to raise my property tax. I'm like, hallelujah, that's the point, you know. But anyway, I just want to drill down this point, guys, several times. That'll be the last time I talk about it, I promise. Okay. So let's see here. Okay. All of this stuff we've covered extensively, so we can move on.